Alright, so before we get in here, start doing this review. I had a couple incidents myself today, fork truck incidents. It's not the seatbelt, not anything weird. But I slipped the parking brake because I was trying to get off fast, stop something from happening, and stop myself from being the Mogwai, turning into the Gremlin today. Because I could have. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that here in a minute. I wanted this review in itself to be a pure review for the marketing aspect. I'm going to try to play it the best I could from the position of trying to train instead of the secondary model, which I am not, but some other variables that would, be on the HUD. It's called that way. So, switching out an order and doing things, had to come around, a couple rocks on the ground, playing on the cell phone. Just you gotta let me know first, because then, hey, then it's okay for you to be in a training phase. You don't know certain things. It's not gonna help. It's physically, mathematically not economic or beneficial for me to wad up the saw on this end, and I don't mean the saw. I mean about stuff piling through, and then you standing there, somebody walks in the door about a thing inside of here. That would be one of those other things that, given Shangri-La. But anyways, inside of there, popped it off. I gotta be really careful. The first time it's happened to me, it happened twice today, but I was hauling balls through it. But there's a lot of training stuff on there that'll make that stuff disappear, not to mention this specific incident report on. I gotta make sure I lock that brake out. I can trust him a little bit more on certain things. Well, because of the cell phone one, I did nip him on the ear a little bit about it. He's a young kid, 19. I give him, it is what it is. Maybe they let you do that in some other place, but it's not just a safety violation, and this makes for a huge problem, man, down the line on certain things. There are times in jobs where mathematically that is congruent, or it is Bell's equality by the standard, and that is mathematically provable in those field theories. Obviously during the full investigation, if you want to look at some of my history on here, maybe we'll take a look at it. But
all right, morning, Matt.
Whoa, before we go, then I had one at the back end of the day. I just got done loading everything. Everything was looking really tight and pretty. I had him throw one up on the rail. I kind of told him to run it, but not run it. So he threw one up on there, and boy, he got that thing just about this close to the blade. And I seen it getting there, and I'm like, wow. I mean, I know he can't know that, like, the first thing that happens, you turn on that saw, but you don't. You turn on the roller, but you don't turn on the blade first, or you turn on the blade and the roller, but the water's not on, and all hell breaks loose. So I want to stop it, and that forklift got me again, and I almost, bumped into the wall. He ran over and grabbed the brake while I was running over the saw. For me, that turns into, we're going to be burning and mucking ditches and doing nothing but that for possibly a week. That was a tile shop video. That's what happened over to Gary there. He started running them through, forgot the roller was running, gets them up in there, bends the shit out of that saw. I try to avoid that if all possible, given what I'm trying to do for the position inside of here. On my first week, never working this part of the building before, but having big experience off of the top end about what techniques they're looking for, what qualities they're looking for, not to mention just here, but a lot of other places on the resume for those things. So I want to clear that off. And like I said, I think I did it the best way I possibly could. After the nipping on the ear of a thing, like I said, I took them over to the manual, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of degrees inside of here, a lot of stuff about picking up on things. Shovel, look busy, but it was more about, I don't really mind you doing that. It's hot as shit today. You've been thermaling. That's not so much of a big deal, but I got to know. You got to hit me first before you start playing on those things. And not only that, he had stuff still on the pallet, so I had to come all the way over, and then I wound up waiting on some stuff, which doesn't necessarily seem like a problem. However, I'm sure we'd all like to put a little money in our pocket. We'd all like to be able to increase the timelines on those things that nobody has a definite answer about. Right? It's not like here's the ladder and the rungs of the 63 parsecs and 73 parsecs that we all have to work by, except for what would be a manual. That's, again, some of that other stuff. That's not just relative to this house or any other individual stone house. like I said, I like to watch Karen versus Karen on here. DUI pull over, and one of them's a fucking detective. Has a tire 6 inches out. I mean, the whole tire is out over into the main road. She's drunk in the passenger seat. All right. And then they hit you with that cop number, right? Well, if I don't know the number, I don't know any of those numbers or correlated to timelines, what mine will be in any aspect here, or any of those systems, except for little things that might come up in conversations with people. Yeah, sometimes it's orders getting done, sometimes it's, hey, I'll give you a reach round if you give me a reach round. But anyways.
No, well, afternoon marshmallows, mellow cups.
Beautiful set of rock right here.
Our full color
That's
set
why
today,
even for
36
full
inches.
color, that's really good
Really
stuff
nice.
inside
Get
there.
that knocked out. I think I
Good
got
line
all
for
of
what I
here.
know about the
Got a
standards
couple extra
and
pieces if need
the
be.
compression that was here
Set
today
off to the side.
for what that does.
Well, we're doing
Not
that today.
customer related to it,
Me and
but
Rich, we're
it's more
juggling off
about
some stuff.
I need a little
Here
time
I'm
on this
finishing
one
off that
to
stuff.
get
Catching
her
on the
knocked
back end
down,
and
get her
ripping when we're ripping.
to behave exactly the way I want her to
But I
behave.
got him running at 18s today
You
on the
know,
torch.
it's one thing when I
They're
know
craning
that
them
she'll
over,
behave
setting
weird
them
when
up.
I go pumping down
He's
some
dragging,
Jackie
you know,
or crack rock or something like that.
knocking
That's
that
to be
off for me
expected.
as
I
soon
can
as we
plan
get this
timelines
finished
on
up
that. But
here.
if I don't know what's coming in,
This order, we'll
I
jump
don't know
on
what's in
those
the yard,
18s.
you're just going to
We
be locked
may
in the
start-
middle of
We
it.
may keep thermaling today.
I'd
Depends
like
on
not
how
to do
hot it
that.
gets in here, and if I can catch it for the timeline, I'll give us a break.
Especially when you are trained.
If I can, we'll see how that plays out.
It's a
You know,
double-edged
I don't
sword.
want to have him thermaling all day if I don't have to. We'll
Not
catch
just
it
that
on the
one, but
day,
the other
so that
one
way
too.
we'll make sure we're organized and everything. Oh, he's doing what he can. He's
Yeah, it's
hot
real
today.
talk.
You know, I imagine. It's one of those
Hit him
things.
with the board. Where are we at?
Yeah, we
You
got a
know,
good
that's
little
first
setup
things
today.
first.
Really
Well,
nice
you can't
rock.
know the problem if you don't even know how to word it. Bells, field theory,
Pretty
Bernoulli.
nice rock.
Oh,
This
7.
one's good. Maybe that's the end.
And you tell me I did it wrong.
Pallet of
Hold
4-footers
still.
blue.
Hold still.
Set up inside here. Some pattern recut
Granddaddy
stuff. But I got my
35.
tread
You're
recut
varmint
down
on my
there.
fucking farm.
Once I'll grab it. One of those full colors off of. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick note today. What's up? What's up? What's down in the hydraulic
Usually when the
fluid? What's
horses
going
are
down
being
the pipe?
horses, I'll be damn. Look at that
Get out here
Clydesdale
on the
over
backside
there.
of the
If you're a
catwalk.
Clydesdale, that's great.
It's
If
not too bad.
you're a
I mean,
bunny.
As far as mud goes, this drain's really good, so it's
That's
a nice
life
thin
now.
layer. Like I said, I still gotta grab a hold of this thing at some point.
So this was
in
at
time,
lunch, and like I said,
I
we
think
cleared
it's
it all
important
off,
that you
finished
get
that.
some orders
I knew
out
the order was in
out
there.
front.
I had it.
I mean,
Had a
really,
couple
honestly,
extras.
fight what you can
Didn't have
down
to
in
worry
the
about
mix.
stuff being burnt.
I love being
He's
able
burning
to
on this side over here while
double
I'm
down
finishing
in that
this over
setup
here
inside of
because
there.
again,
It's a lot of,
it's
of,
hard to
I would say,
you know.
security in what you do over there, but you know, I understand it's a give and take a little bit. You got to understand certain numbers.
Well, the grade starts with burn.
Timeline
Flipping rock
and,
right there. It's the best
valuation,
side, no
so
matter what.
I do need
Throw
to
it to the
get
table.
a differential on the timeline.
Every time.
So
I don't have to worry about whether you
that's
flipped it or
set over
not,
there.
whether you had motivation or
I also
not,
have some
whether
sills
it
set up
was
inside here. I need
any of
some
those
8-inch
things that
sills.
could cause those problems
be
later.
going off,
Motivation's
get
not
rock
bad. You
face,
might
those
lose a
are fun.
percentage and you hope
gotta
you
make
get
sure
that
that
back.
I'll be doing all the
But certainly in itself, the grade
edges and finishing
comes
on
across
that probably. I don't know. I gotta
what
check
that
to see
is.
how many sides get edged.
And I don't want to get, I'm not
Get rocked
talking to
on
him,
that.
I'm talking to,
But yeah, that'll be off into our other guy. I don't like saying names until I clear some stuff.
well,
but
like I said, when it
yeah.
comes to command on those things, like I
You're
snap
setting
your
up
fingers,
for
I'm gonna
somebody
burn
else
rock
to
on
be
the roof
rocking.
for you.
You know, it's the one
Like
thing you want
you
to
should
get some
do
extra pieces in
when
there
somebody
and,
comes in here and
do
goes,
it real
well,
good.
all this other is like,
You know, this
you don't
is
understand.
my finish technique
You have no
here.
clue.
It's not too bad.
Where do you think I
Probably
learned
can tap
this?
them, but most of this is going to fall off. They come out really nice. So we got 3.5 minutes in here. I think that's good. Should be going through this and stacking them up.
You know, so I want to knock out that stuff. That
Okay,
was
next
this.
one.
This is week 1 in Dalport. You know, that's what that turns into. Let's see what we got here. This is from today. Well, of course, that was a fun one. We'll get back to that. I've been running some music lately here, but yeah, man. Well, that's interesting. This is Karen versus Karen. That was a good one. This thing over here, it's a good sight card. I was running a bunch of investigations last night. This thing teach you a lot about psychology, a lot about all kinds of fun stuff, Joe. Inside of here, what certain standards are, but specifically I want to talk about these all. Well, here is part of it, but it's actually the full investigation. I'll probably click back on it looking for stuff, but. And you got this guy. Interesting. Well, this one, the peacock, has a lot to do with this one, and then Iraq, and it's like, well, business numbers, Bill, Microsoft, national, whatever, inside of here, and then board meetings on the 45, right? 42 or whatever the fuck you call it, when Ben Eater trying to figure out what the breadboard is doing. So back on the hunt for Red October over here. Red Dawn rolling in. You really have to take a critical aspect about what this material is. Okay, this brutal cross-examination of a cop. I mean, when I first started watching this, and when he started talking, I didn't see his lips moving, and I thought the judge was talking. I was like, okay. And then you realize it's him. It's like, well, this is where we're living. All right. Well, you got to figure that out. I'd suggest you watch it. I really wasn't looking for the result. I could have cared less about the result, honest. This is another good one. This one. Oh, I had it all. It's got drugs, bikers, people shooting at cops. In the end of it, the right to remain silent and anything can and will be used against you in the court of law turns into, well, this is just fishing for fluff, and they did give it to him. And I think for the fluff on the farm, it wasn't so bad off. But let's talk about the real number. It starts to be, I can't force him to give me the numbers, but at the same time you could present numbers across the board, because it's all going to be about the house, it's all going to be about the numbers over there, and then there's other ones where the is it this one? Yeah, this one right here, where the judge's the judge's son gets bit by a dog and shoots the girlfriend and the dog or something like that, or at them, or some effect of that thing. Oh, but this is all of them. We're not just talking about the one down here in town. We're talking about everywhere, and big ones, right? Yeah, right? CNBC, Peacock over here. Very flamboyant. It's a way to make sales. It's a way to do things. It's a way to Schrodinger that bad puppy out. When you're thinking about what is failure-proof your ass right into the ground with Bernoulli's, it's a stone mill. Oh, this is for you. Now, I'll give you the model on the Sharps is different nowadays, because why? Energy, very simple. But go ahead and take you a peek at this comic book, this whole thing, this NTF LSD acid trip. Some people call it Alice in Wonderland syndrome. Some people call it skullduggery.